morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you all. Thank you for joining us today. The session today is a special one as it brings together leadership perspectives, our strategic vision for the year ahead, and an exciting live showcase of how we are shaping the future with AlgoQA. I'm Ananya Kamal, the PMO Associate of AlgoShack Technologies, and I'll be your host for today's event. Over the next couple of hours, we've curated an engaging agenda designed to inform, inspire, and spark meaningful conversations, blending insights, direction, and innovation. It now gives me immense pleasure to introduce our chief guest for the day, Mr. Ravi Ramaswami.
Thank you.
Mr. Ravi brings with him close to 4 decades of experience across leadership roles in R&D, business management, product strategy, operations, and large-scale global programs, primarily in the healthcare and technology space. He has held senior leadership roles with organizations like GE, L&T, Philips, where he has not only led large global teams, but also driven end-to-end ownership from strategy, product vision to execution, revenue accountability, and customer impact. He has worked extensively across global markets, including India, APAC, Japan, Africa, the Middle East, and Europe, helping build solutions that are both scalable and highly customer-centric. Beyond corporate leadership, Ravi is deeply engaged with startup ecosystems, academia, hospitals, and industry bodies, and is a regular speaker at both national and international forums. We're truly honored to have you here, sir.
Thank you so much.
And I'm confident that the conversation ahead will offer valuable perspective and learning for both of us. So now let me quickly walk you through the agenda for the day. We'll begin with a fireside chat, a candid and insightful conversation with Mr. Ravi, where we'll explore perspective, experiences, and ideas, and set the context for the year ahead. Following the fireside chat, we'll hear from Vadish, the CEO of our company, who will share a concise snapshot of where we stand today, marking our position and progress as we step into the beginning of 2026. Next, we'll move into program-wise presentations where each team will outline their key goals, focus areas, and priorities for the year ahead. And to wrap up the session, we'll conclude with an end-to-end live demo of AlgoQA, giving a first-hand look of how the platform comes together in action. With that, let's move into the first and perhaps one of the most engaging parts of today's agenda, the fireside chat. As we set the tone for 2026 and beyond, what does leadership truly mean today, and how is it different from a decade ago?
Hey, first of all, thank you so much, Vadish, Sesha, for letting me share my 2 cents with the team. Really appreciate that. What I'm going to talk about is relating to what the industry was when I joined way back in 1982, my first job with L&T, and the expectations then from the leadership versus what it is going to be today. When I joined, it was, shall I say, it was a very, very organized, centralized, I'd say, decision was always at the central, and then you had to sort of drive it down across the organization. So we had somebody whom we would respect from a domain perspective. He was supposed to be the leader, and we would do sort of as told, as we were to basically follow the leaders of the thing without much of a question. It was centrally driven, very, very domain centric. And even if I look at the manufacturing, like for example, L&T would boast of a completely vertically integrated manufacturing plant. If you look at switchgear as a case in point, everything starting from a nut bolt that goes into switchgear to the contactors, to the silver coating, to the painting, every damn thing was done inside that single house. It was not only L&T. You look at L&T, you look at Tata's, you look at Richardson Crudas, you look at Metal Box. All these guys would boast of a vertically integrated stuff. Okay. And of course, it was all work from office, where even I used to go and punch my card in the morning at 7:30 for the first shift and come out at 3:45. 3:45 was supposed to be the first shift ending, but it never ever happened that we got out at that time. But then, barring that, it was a very, very structured organization and very central. And the IP was sort of core in what we were doing. Forward that to what we get to see now, completely decentralized, people join on the web, work on the web and resign on the web, and you don't get to see the damn face at all. You don't know what people are all about. The culture of the organization, we all talk about saying we need to preserve the culture. I don't know where the culture is today. Okay? People come in and go just the way the gigs, as they call, it's completely sort of, shall I say, broken down, and it is sort of very, very fragmented and very distributed as against the central leadership that we saw. Another most important point, if I were to sort of look at the prosperity, the per capita spend or the earning capacity of an individual, I started my salary with 900 rupees, okay, and after deductions, I would get it in a cover, some 768 rupees, 25 paisa or whatever that goes along with it, okay. For my dad to build a house, he bought his first house when he was what, maybe about 58, and that too it was a one-room kitchen, okay. Then comes my generation, where I bought a house when I was maybe 40 or 45, and now my kids, they are in their late 20s, they are aspiring to buy a house. Now what my dad bought was a single bedroom, I could afford a 2-bedroom, and my daughters are now talking of a 3-bedroom. So basically, if you really look at it, the prosperity level has also gone up. And because of that, the outlook and the risk-taking ability is also being different. So what worked in the past, will it work now? The answer is no. It's a complete paradigm shift in terms of what the industry has to offer, be it in terms of technology, be it in terms of the capability that one can bring in, be it the multimodality fusion that you get to see among technologies and interactions between, say, a telecom to a healthcare to finance, what have you. So the entire ecosystem, the entire environment has changed. But one thing that has remained core is trust, leadership, and shall we say, looking at a person as an individual, not as a resource. Other than that, I think there is a sea change in the outcomes, driven by technology, driven by the capabilities, driven by the growth of an individual himself. Because what was considered, I was like, in the PF statement that I would get, I still remember there used to be a line saying, if you were to retire from L&T, your PF would be something like 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs or whatever. And I was drawing 900 rupees there. And it was 50 lakh milega. It's a big amount here. So that was the mindset where employment was guaranteed for almost life. Today, that does not happen. You have to sort of earn every penny that you do, and there is nothing like a guarantee here. We know this. So there has been a sea change in the way that the environment has transformed itself, and therefore the question, what the rules of the game that was there 20 years, 30, 40 years ago will not apply today. The rules are completely different, and one has to appreciate that. Okay, it's a long answer to a short question.
Somebody like to
No,
answer?
I mean, very much resonates. I think the world has changed. Today, I mean, people say VUCA, right? There is so much of anxiety, there is so much of complexity, uncertainty, volatility. Things have certainly changed. But as you rightly said, there are certain things that are common. I mean, the old world values.
Yes.
Trust, holding oneself accountable. Probably in this current world, establishing that clarity as to what is expected of me. What am I supposed to do, given a context? I think, and how do and you do this very naturally, how do I help others win?
Yeah.
I think those have remained. Probably there is no more authority that works. Control seeking won't work for sure in the current gig world. That's, I mean,
But, you know what, you brought in a very valid point, Vadish, and I want to sort of build on that a bit. When, again, I go back to my bosses. My bosses were 15 years elder to me, okay? When I was 22, when I joined after my engineering, 21, 22, My boss used to be 35, 36. Okay? So he never feared that I would ever take his job. He had a job for himself, I had a job for myself. Okay? And therefore it was literally learning from a fire hose. He would teach me every damn thing that he knew, without any inhibitions, without any holdbacks. Fast forward that to today, your manager is 2 years old to you, 3 years elder to you if you are lucky. And if you are unlucky, he is 3 years younger to you. Okay? So in that sense, what happens is there is a damn, it's human. There's a question of saying, am I secure? If I tell this guy everything, is he going to supersede me? Is he going to make me redundant? Little knowing that redundancy makes you take on the next better job. Okay? That maturity, that wisdom does not come in.
Yes.
And that's the reason why you find that there is so much of heartburn, there is so much of, shall I say, tension in the system,
Yeah.
which gets generated because of this unwanted pressure that we are putting on ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, if we see it in the right perspective, probably there is huge opportunity. Leave the job that I have been doing to someone possibly not much younger, but younger than I, and let me move up. I think if we attain that kind of perspective, I mean maturity level, so to say.
Yeah, in fact, Jack Welch used to tell us when I was in GE, 2000, yeah, 82 to 2000 I was with L&T, 2000 to 2010 I was with GE, and 2010 to 20 with Philips. So one of the questions people asked me was, 45 years, why only 3 companies? I said, those are the only companies who took me without an interview here. If I had gone for an interview, I would not have qualified. So one of the things that he used to say is, you always hire your boss.
Yeah,
You hire somebody who is better than you,
yeah,
who can replace you so that you make yourself redundant and you take on the next job.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Hire someone who is much better than you, and then allow that person to operate, than having to tell him every day what to do, right?
My motto was very simple, hire the best and then you rest.
Yeah.
So, it was a great perspective, sir. Moving on. Leaders face expectations from teams, customers, peers, and themselves. So, in your view, how can they manage expectations without burning out?
A lot of it is dependent on you. First of all, we as Indians, whenever we want to say a no, we still say an yes. Okay? Knowing fully well that we are not going to be committed to it. That's something we should stop. We should be discreet enough to say yes when we can do it. We should be able to say no when we know that we are not able to do it. But then that no has to be qualified on 2 counts. Saying there has to be a logic as to why you said a no, and communicate that logic to everybody concerned so that they know that this is not going to be done and there are no surprises. It should be known saying that yes, there is a prioritization list that I am going to go through. Because a lot of the stress comes because of this issue itself, that we take up much more than what we can ever do. In fact, recently with DeepL, where I advise, one of the things that I told one of the partner vendors was saying, don't take more than what you can chew. You have got enough on your plate now. If you take more, there is a chance of failure, so don't get into that. First, prove that you can do this, and then you take on the next big step. It's a common disease for us not to say no here. And that is something that we really need to sort of get over. Nobody is expecting you. That is one. The second thing is heroism, saying that if I am not around, the sky will fall down. Nothing will happen. I also thought as much that Philips पे problem होगा, कुछ नहीं हुआ. It in fact did even better. Okay, so that is the other assumption that we all live in, saying heroics. Rather than that, my lesson has been saying you build a system that will sustain well beyond you. Okay, once you start doing that, you make yourself dispensable, and the system will take care of it. So rather than building capability centered around a individual, you build it distributed and build a system that will survive and that will sort of cherish and that will flourish. That's the other thing. The third thing is, everybody tells, saying that, hey, I need to be there online 24/7. Who the hell cares here? Nobody wants you. Nobody wants you, you don't push yourself to that. You be very, very clear, saying, yes, I am available for say 9 to 6, then I have my free time. If you want anything, maybe I look at my mail half an hour before I go to bed to clear off whatever pending. If there is an escalation, there is a well-defined escalation path that needs to be followed. So if that is structured, if the processes are structured, you can take a lot of this wastage out of the system. And this so-called assumed self-importance, keep that aside here. People can do a much better job without your interference.
Yeah.
So we try to put pressure on ourselves and then say that I am running short of time, I have no work-life balance. I don't think so. The world was functioning perfectly well or even better without mobile phones. I come from an era where I did not, where when I joined, we were using telexes and there was no email, there was no phone, there was no fax. And still we survived. L&D grew.
Yeah.
Nothing stops. GE at that time was also a $165 billion company without all these. So a lot of it is self-created, self-inflicted, I would say. Now if we can come out of that and come with a vision that saying, I am going to structure the organization in a way that that I'm going to build leaders. It is not going to be heroics, it's going to be a collective system that is going to deliver. I think we will be good at it. You don't have to face that stress.
No, I agree. I mean, I don't know whether you want to add, but one thing, I think there are times when we know that the other side has a different expectation of us. And at that time, knowing very well that they have a different expectation, we don't even try to preempt and resolve it. We hope it will get resolved on its own, and it comes back biting. I mean, those things could also be avoided. But otherwise, as you rightly pointed out, it's all about prioritizing, saying no when you have to say no, chew what you can chew, and structuring the effort as much as we could. Even the communication can be well structured to avoid unnecessary noise.
And there's a beautiful saying here. One of the philosophers had said the saying that I don't know what is the route to success, but I can tell you a definite path to failure, and that is trying to satisfy everybody all the time.
Absolutely.
It never happens.
Yeah.
So best is to sort of accept that as a reality,
Yeah.
and then call it out, set the expectations, and communicate the expectations so that the other guy is not surprised.
Yeah.
To add, I think nowadays youngsters, more than peer pressure, they have Insta pressure. So I would say that social media is a big, it is a pressure, but it is something youngsters want to take, because that is the forum for them to reach out to the world, and it is a forum where they can express themselves. So it is good to have some kind of pressure to see what you want to, how you want to engage across mediums, and say what you want to say. And when you say something, you are going to get negative comments, people are going to troll you. So you have to handle that pressure as well. So it's not just expressing yourself, but being able to handle yourself. So people go through those emotions. As soon as they put a post or a like or anything, immediately they start looking at how many people have liked her. So that's again a pressure, like Ravi said. This is something you have built on your own. And I think a lot of people, you had this early resolutions to this time. A lot of people talk about early resolution, not waiting for the new year. And some of the things, a lot of people said reducing screen time, spending more time with family, friends, being in the physical world. I think that way, when you're in the physical world, you don't feel much pressure, right? You're interacting with family, friends, colleagues, you're going for a cup of coffee. So those kind of sessions, when you have those interactions, you don't feel the pressure. But when you are on your own, now talking to Chat-GPT and getting the pressure, right? Because Chat-GPT says something and you have pressure built, saying, oh, I'm not doing the right thing. So the world is changed. I think even school children, they are in school, when they come back or on their way back to home, they are discussing in a virtual, what happened in the class, and so there are a lot of things changing the way the world is happening. So one good thing is you need to adapt and you need to survive. I think that is the key thing. Whatever is required to survive and go ahead, get ahead in your game, do it.
There's another one, and this is slightly off the topic, but I still want to make a mention here. A lot of the pressures that we inflict upon ourselves is self-created. Take for example finance. One of the guys who was working in my team comes and tells me saying that he's got about 8-10 years experience, I guess, in Philips. He comes and tells me, sir, I bought a house, a 3-bedroom house. I said, congratulations. Me and my wife are earning, so we are going to pay the EMI and we are going to do that. I said, wonderful. Then he has a baby. Then he tells me, after 6 months, he comes and tells me, I have got a Mercedes car. Now, my point is saying, are you sure that you can sustain this luxury at this age, at 35? Or do you think it would have been better off served by postponing that? And as luck would have it, there was some sort of reorganization. I had to let this guy go. So that started putting a mental pressure on this guy, saying that how am I going to pay my EMIs, how am I going to pay my obligations to the banks and all that, and that sort of started impacting his health and all that stuff. So I called him up and I told him, saying, why did you do all this? You know that in today's world, the only thing that is certain is uncertain. Okay? Why are you putting yourself to this sort of tormenting yourself? What if you had delayed it by a couple of years? What would have gone wrong for you? Instead of buying a Merc, you could have bought pick another decent car, and then maybe Merc could have been when you had sort of a bit more comfortable with your finances. So a lot, and that led to, it went off pretty bad. I had to let him go. I found him some other job, but then his wife divorced him, and it got into all sort of a mess. Now all these are self-created here. Yeah. You don't have to really get into all this, but then there's a certain amount of discretion that one needs to exercise in terms of the spend also. Don't try to spend beyond the means, and it doesn't work. Yeah. Somewhere or the other it comes and
sustainable. That is as such not sustainable.
Yeah, the whole thing is in that guy is a poor guy is in a wreck. Even if after I got him a job in Honeywell, still he can't come out of it. The trauma that he went through.
Yeah.
And totally uncalled for here.
I think marketing ads are, party to this, whatever he's saying. This morning I saw Times of India, first page, it says a letter to my better half. And he goes on explaining many things and says, oh, I'm not talking about my wife, I'm talking about the car. And then the next page, if you turn around, it's BMW. So it's an ad by BMW. Like Ravi said, trying to get something when you don't have finances. And one more I heard this morning on Instagram again, 2 couples planning to save, money for their child when he's born, right? Trying to buy second-hand toys, trying to buy inexpensive clothes. All these, one set of couple do it, and then they save the money for the education, So whereas the other couple spends branded toys, expensive parties, and finally they don't have money for education. So these are 2 different perspectives, like Ravi said, managing the finances and it is very critical for bootstrap companies like this.
Absolutely.
So if you don't manage your finances, you can't grow.
Frugality always helps, and I'll give you my example itself. While I was in Philips for the last 8 years of my career, I had an Audi A6 with me. It was a company given car which I used to drive. And post-retirement, I realized, I retired in 2020. Post-retirement, I realized saying that the spend on that bloody Audi was just too much. So what did I do? I went and I sold it off, saying that I had enough, I enjoyed it, I'm done with it now. I don't need that car anymore. I went and I bought a Camry. It's a much cheaper car, and the maintenance cost is much lower, and whatever the other reasons were. So one has to be pragmatic about things in life here. You can't adopt the same norms everywhere. It doesn't work. That's the reality.
Yeah, that resonates.
So sir, that brings me to my next question. From your experience, what is that one thing leaders must unlearn as they move into larger, more complex roles?
First thing, one thing that you will have to unlearn is the fact that you and only you can manage everything. Okay, there are enough and more people who can do it better, faster, quicker and cheaper than what you can do. As long as that realization is there in you, you will never fail. And second thing, as I said, move away from the fact that you are going to live on heroics. It's not going to be an individual who is driving the organization anymore, it's going to be the system that is going to drive the organization. And that's where we need to spend our energy and effort on, in trying to see how can I build the team, a set of leaders together that is going to really make an impact. And we will possibly touch it when you talk even about AlgoShack as an example, saying from where you are to where you want to go, what would be that growth path that will take you there. For sure, it's going to be an organization that you need to build. The individual, shall I say, that me and me alone can save the company, James Bond type, that's gone, for sure. We need to build an organization that is sustainable, that is scalable, and which can deliver to what the needs are. Because today the information is coming in from so many sources, and it is simply impossible for one to be a master of all. Okay, so from that perspective, I think build an organization that will survive well beyond you.
In fact, this is an effort in that direction.
Exactly.
So we are where we are about 300 plus people. We have seen one orbit shifting growth, from 150 to 250. And definitely we are working towards now from 300 to 500, 600, whatnot. So how can we achieve that? I mean, if the company is always founder-led, then this is not going to happen, because you can only do so much. And the only way you can achieve that kind of growth is by having leaders in the room, right? I mean, who can drive things on their own. Not that you will not require help, but seek help when needed. Don't lean on the founders, right? Drive your own business with full accountability, as if it is your own personal goal, right? And that is the reason why this session.
Exactly.
So,
and the other thing also, Badish, is there are a couple of other elements that one needs to think about, and the other one is focus. Like for example, when I joined Philips, we were about 650 engineers. When I retired, we were north of 5,500. So we did see the growth, the inflection point and the hockey stick growth that Philips saw, even for that matter GE saw. But a couple of things that stand out there. One that you said is true, saying that when you move from an orbit 1 to an orbit 2, it is not going to be founder-led, it is going to be team-led. Number 2, be very, very focused on what you want to do, guys. Quality and focus is something that cannot be compromised. Don't get into adjacencies and don't get into the next best opportunity that a customer wants. Be very, very clear, saying, what is your strategic path? What are you going to how is the customer going to benefit out of all the stuff that you're trying to do? The third one and the most important one is the IP, is the intellectual property. In today's terms, in today's world, again, you have got so many startups, each one coming with, shall we say, very sharp focus. I think unless you are clear on what you want to do, you'll get rogered. They say death by 1,000 cuts. That's something that one needs to be very, very careful about. And last but not the least, I think you need to have a talent pool that is committed to and wants to make this whole thing a success. Given the fact that you're also going to maintain your say-do ratio and the basic hygiene factors like trust, fairness, equality. Those are all hygiene factors that I'm not even looking at. Those are a given. But be very, very focused and ruthless in terms of what you want to do. I'll give you one example from GE here. We were designing this baby phototherapy systems, which is basically a blue light that you get to see for a neonate if it is a preterm, which has high jaundice or hyperbilirubinemia, what they say. The target was saying, we worked the entire map and we said that the sweet spot for us was to have a material cost of $150. We were at about 220 or something like that. So we did all that the team could do and finally came out to saying, yeah, the lowest that we can go to is something like 160, 165 or something, nothing below that. At that point, we had to take a call whether we shut down the project or we continue with it. All except me had said that we are going to continue with it, and I was the bad guy said if it is, I wanted at 150, even if it is 150.1, I am not signing it up. Okay, go figure it out. The team did go back and they came back, they did a rework and came to a much lower number finally, and we got the product out. But somebody has to sort of draw a hard line saying, yes, this is what is acceptable and this is what is not acceptable. And that logic has to be communicated. So don't take on everything that you guys can lay your hands on. See what is the value that you can create, both for the organization and for the customer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as far as we are concerned, stay focused on test automation. Be the mecca for test automation. Test automation as such offers enough breadth and depth in itself. So long as we are focused on delivering meaningful automated scripts that run, that catch defects seamlessly, we are good. We will not look at here, there, we don't have a Chinese menu.
Yes.
We have only one solid offering, and that's what we want to be known for. And even with the verticals, we have chosen a few where we will bet on.
Stick to that.
Yeah, and some people say, probably you now know more medtech than us. Because we work with several medical devices companies and radiology informatics. So in the process, we really gather so much of domain depth. So our solution is at the cusp of test automation and the domain depth.
And that's possibly what you want to stick to it here. Like, look at HP. Has anybody seen the earlier catalog of when Agilent and HP and all of these guys were together? Have you seen the catalog of HP? Anybody?
You talking about servers, storage, and those things?
The entire HP organization.
It
includes printers.
Every damn thing. Okay. That book used to be a thick book. I would possibly use it as a pillow here. Two of them, and I don't need a third for a pillow. It was as thick as that. And what was the market cap of HP? 20 billion, 30 billion, 40 billion? Look at Apple. How many products does Apple have? 45, 50? And what is the market cap of Apple? So does it mean that you need to have a large product range to get your market caps? The answer is no. Okay? Look at Netflix. Netflix, they don't own a theater. They don't own a movie. What is the market cap? Look at Uber. No cars. But what they do is phenomenal. Look at Airbnb. Not a single hotel, not a single bed. No capex. Look at what their revenues are, what their market cap is. Okay? So, what I'm coming to, Vadish, is in addition to technology that you're looking at, the other side that you need to look at is commercial innovation. Saying what is it that I can do on the commercial side to come up with differentiated models that will impact customers. Like for example, in Philips, they sell you light. All the fixtures are my own. I'll just charge you for the light that you consume. Okay, but back of the envelope calculation will tell you that I'll make 3 times more profit than selling you the bulbs. So there are ways and means, like for example in hospitals, patient monitors. I'll start monitoring as a service. You don't need to buy the monitors. You tell me what you want.
Yeah.
You use them and you pay me by the usage.
Yeah.
Okay? So by doing that, what's happening is you are hooking that guy on, and he's not, and that socket becomes sort of committed to you for an extended period of time, Unlike saying that today I'll buy a monitor from you, tomorrow I'll buy it from Mindray, third day I'll buy it from GE.
Yeah.
So, technology on one side, Vadish, and that's the thing that AlgoShack really needs to look at, is saying, on the commercial side, what are the innovations that I'm going to do so that the combination of tech and business and the commercial model can turn out to be a winner for you.
Yeah, 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 that makes sense.
To add, see, if you're looking at where we are today, you're looking at an orbit shift in growth. It doesn't happen if you continue to do what you've been doing so many years. You have to start, your unlearning is all about stopping doing things you are doing, learning new things, making new connections, and like Ravi said, the new business models that are coming into the play, how customers are capturing, looking at products and services. There are a lot of changes happening very rapidly in the market. So if you don't unlearn what you're doing, you will not be able to learn and capture new markets. That's very critical. And it goes for people, it goes for companies, and even customers.
Take a company like, for example, say Deep Health or Philips or any one of them, okay? Now you deliver to these companies, okay? The metrics that you measure yourself on is, say, defect ratio, how much of it got picked up before release, how much of it after release, what is the cost of non-quality, what have you got a set of metrics, okay? Now you look at Deep Health's customers, you look at Philips's customers. How are they measuring Philips and Deep Health? Is there a semblance of relationship between your metrics and their metrics? You say you want to make them successful, but I'm not even looking at their metrics and getting it to a point where their customers say, you guys are good. When you're not even doing that, how would I believe you telling me, saying that you're making me successful there? When the metrics are not aligned. So the long and short of it is, you align your metrics to your your customer's metrics, so that you know that if you excel, he's going to feel good about it, and his growth is going to drive your growth.
Yeah,
Nobody does that here. Nobody does that.
To be established.
I review a lot of these presentations from all these biggies, and everybody talks about, this is what the project given to me, this is the job given to me, this is what I'm going to do, and this is the measure of my matrices, and this is what I'm going to sort of rate myself on. Who cares here? You are doing something which has no relevance to your customer, and what you do, the customer doesn't see an impact in you. If a metrics, like for example, if his failure rate on the field goes down by say 5x, and you are able to demonstrate saying that I am taking an 8x target, then because of your 8x stuff, he's seeing a 5x reduction, he'll feel good about it. Otherwise, unless you start measuring yourself in the way that your customer gets measured, there's no way that you can move forward. It doesn't help.
Yeah.
So that's something that you might want to see a change in the way that you project yourself, in the way that you measure yourself, and the way that you say that, yes, I have been a success, or I've added value to the customer.
Any questions from the audience? In the meanwhile, yeah. So what's one leadership habit you've adopted over time that quietly made the biggest difference?
Trust. Trust and fairness. Unless I trust everybody, unless I am proved wrong, or till I am proved wrong. Okay? So that sort of helps me build relationship with the people that I work in. And the second thing is, I try to be as fair to people as possible. Now in today's context, let's come back to our favorite, saying the job itself. Is it certain that all of us will have a job tomorrow? The answer is no. That's possibly the only thing that is uncertain about it. But at the same time, and everybody knows about it also, But at the same time, can I respect you as an individual and not as a commodity? The answer is yes. And that's what differentiates people. I give you a hard message, but I also tell you the reason as to why it has happened. And is there a way that I can help you out? I have shut down organizations in departments in Philips. Okay, there was one where I had to shut down a team of 190 people. But then 3 months before that, I stopped the entire hiring in Philips and tried to see if we could allocate funds for retraining these guys. And even without these guys knowing, do the entire back-end planning along with HR and with the respective managers from my LT to ensure that out of that 190, 187 were given at least 2 opportunities when the announcement was made saying that we are going to ramp you down. Those 3, the balance 3 were contractors who had performance issues, we had to let go, that's a different story. But for all the others, we had at least 2 offers in hand before we communicated to them. So from that perspective, try and do your best. In some cases it happens. There have been cases like, for example, I had a guy who we deputed to GE on, this was just a couple of days before Thanksgiving. This guy was punch drunk, okay, and the police car stops him and asks him to take, pull him into the side. This fellow goes and bangs into the police car itself. Okay, gaya 4 din andar. Thanksgiving holidays, no way that we could contact him and get him out of the jail. So he spent 4 nights in the prison, and then he was sort of deported back to India. We went and we met him at the airport, gave his offer letter, gave his the letter, pink slip, saying thank you very much for all the good work that you have done. Push off.
Yeah.
So is it that we have not taken hard calls? The answer is yes. There was another case where this guy was cheating on transportation bills and all that, which we caught and we terminated it in the same day. But you do it treating that guy with respect here. You don't try to sort of make a mockery of it, don't try to belittle people. Give the individuals the respect that they deserve, and then things will be fine. They do know that if they were in your position, they would also do the same thing. They would also have to take hard calls in their lives.
Yeah.
That's an accepted fact, but then do it with dignity. That's one thing that has kept me in good stead for long years here. There was another guy, third example I'll tell you. This fellow comes and tells me I gave him a code 1, and there was another guy whom I had to give a code 4. A code 4 is basically the bottom L, and we had to get rid of people in GE. That rule was very stringent. So when the time of the appraisal came, started giving him all the incentives and all that, I gave this guy 20% increase. The guy who was a code 1. That fellow now, he was quite happy till he came to know about this code 4, because this code 4, I told him saying that, boss, I don't think you're fitting here. I will find you a job that you might like and succeed. I will push you into, I think it was Honeywell, I think. I got him a job in Honeywell Aerospace for something that he was very good at. And he got a 40% rise. So this fellow comes and tells me, saying, the first fellow comes and tells me, saying, Ravi, you have been very unfair with me. He says, yeah, sir, I slogged and you gave me a code 1 and you gave me a 20% hike. This fellow, good for nothing, he did nothing, and you got him a 40% hike. Now, jokes apart, I think as long as you are good to your people, I think people love you. Yeah, they understand the challenges that you're facing. But explain to them in a manner that be clear, be concise, be honest, and be transparent. No hiding. Don't try to play games with people. Yeah. That's the worst thing that you can ever do for you and for your relationship.
Yeah, no, I think fairness also means making tough calls.
Absolutely.
I mean,
tough call is a part of life.
You
have got to do that, Vanish.
And
There's
don't
no escape.
postpone those hard
Absolutely,
discussions.
yeah. Trying to push a problem away is not going to solve the problem. A cancer, if it is not taken out, then you will serve yourself well. There are something called as management paradoxes, where one of it says that you need to take tough calls for the larger good. Okay, so don't shy away from it. You've got to do it, but then do it with dignity, do it with grace, and do it with fairness. Everybody knows that.
Absolutely.
Anybody?
I have a question. So I have heard so much about you, Mr. Ramaswamy. So at this juncture, you manage many new vendors and new companies. So I would like to know what is that one habit that you have inculcated over the years that made a difference from where you were to where you are right now?
I think, as I said, it's basically trust, transparency, and fairness. Those are the only three things that have stood by me all my career here, 45 years in the industry. That's one thing that I have always stood for, and maybe by nature or maybe God's grace, just been bestowed with it. Did I lose out on my personal career? Absolutely yes. People in GE, I had a French boss, he would call me a communist because I fought for my people. But then, be as it may, there's a price you pay for everything in life, and I don't regret that. So I think, but at the same time, I have been absolutely brutal and honest and on the face, saying what is good and what is bad. If you have to communicate, do it straight here. Don't try to do it behind the back, and don't let that news let the bad news, if you have to give to someone, you do it directly. Don't let it come from somebody else.
Other sources.
Yes.
Yeah, that is the worst thing that you can do. Like for example, my boss, if I mess up, I would rather go and tell him than he hearing from somebody else. So have that courage, have that conviction, and things will be well. There was one case in GE where I screwed up a project, okay? $3 million. My boss was a Chinese guy. We were wanting to come out with a local ECG machine, and I said we'll zeal tha ho jayega, everything was possible karke. We went and we said, and everything is possible, we'll make it. But then one rubber roller screwed my entire program, and to cut the chase, we had to abandon that. So my boss calls me up and tells me saying, Ravi, for $3 million, we could have got your entire team trained in Harvard. I said, okay, I take it. And then the next project, we learned out of that mistakes. We delivered the next one, and we gave him a profit of $75 million, and that product came in the annual report front page along with Jeffrey Melt and all that. So at the end of the day, it was a happy moment for him. But then, yeah, there are failures that we'll have to accept, embrace, and move on with life here. Don't shy away from it. And don't shy away from taking tough calls. It doesn't help.
So that brings me to my last question. What's that one piece of advice you would like to give the leaders at AlgoShack, or one or two practices they should strongly adopt as they move into larger leadership roles?
First one is build an organization, not individuals. The organization survives the individuals much, much longer here. Like for example, even if you take Steve Jobs is no more here, but Apple is still there.
Yeah.
Right? So the organization normally surpasses all of us, and they live for years and years and years. GE survived 150 years, Philips 130, 140 years. So organizations survive much, much longer. So build an organization, build a credible organization based on a robust culture of trust and fairness, and be very, very focused and very sharp on what you want to do. Don't try to go all over the place. Don't look at the next best opportunity that will come my way. That doesn't help you. You have got to have a strategic vision and see where you are going to do and how you are going to get there. Keep it simple.
I think I would want to leave it at that and not dilute.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts and insights with us today. And on behalf of the entire team, we would like to express a sincere gratitude for your time, wisdom, and openness in this conversation. It's truly been inspiring to hear from someone who has navigated leadership across industries, geographies, and decades with such clarity and purpose. So,
If anybody else can ask any question, if people want to ask anything.
Any question, personal, professional, whatever, what have you here?
Well, what keeps you motivating at this age also? I'm not undermining your.
Working with guys like you, yeah, come on. Don't take it away from me.
Because I want to retire soon, so I'm just.
Retire and do what?
I don't want.
Arey, divorce ho jayega, yaar. That's what I tell my wife. 39 years of married life, secret of success. You do your job, let me do mine.
Be
No,
very
but-
busy.
Huh?
Yeah, be very busy.
Yeah. Keep yourself engaged.
Yeah, have to, be in two separate worlds.
See, no, let me get a bit philosophical on this. Gita, chapter 3, verse number 22. Has anybody read Gita?
I have read, but I won't be able to kind
Okay.
of connect it to verses and.
I'll tell you what. Krishna says there, saying, there is nothing in this three world that I don't have or which I cannot get. But I am still standing in front of you doing my karma, driving your chariot. There's no need for him to have done that. Okay? All of us have karma, all of us, our body will get spoiled if we don't keep it busy and engaged and active. I survived cancer in 2016. If I were to do nothing, I would just think of the disease, think of my pain here, think of my pain at the back, think of something else. Keep the damn thing away, keep negative thoughts away, and see what you can give back to society. That's it. That's what keeps me going. All the guys who work with me think that I have 24 hours for them.
This follow-up question. Ravi sir, just one follow-up question. Have you thought of doing something else?
This is the only thing I know here. My work was my hobby was work. Iske alawa to I don't know anything else.
Okay. Got it.
Sir, I have one question. So along with the motivations and all, right, like all these things are positive side of this progress of in our career. So what else we can with respect to if you see the risks, so as a leader, what and all risk we should expect and how we can manage those risks?
To be honest to you, if I were to relive my life, I would not have done this because I didn't see my child grow up here. Two of my daughters, I didn't see them grow up at all. For 17 years, I used to travel 22 days a month across the world, focusing on my career. I never knew when and after marriage, I missed that. Don't ever do that, guys. Spend time with your family, live the moment with your parents, with your children. Because both my parents are no more now. And when I look back, that's possibly the only thing I miss. Saying, did I spend time with my family? The answer is no. Yes, there's a trade-off that you do in life. I've traveled to about 75 odd countries to understand the dispensation of clinical care on ground so that we could design products. But then at the end of the day, did I lose something? Absolutely yes. So be conscious of the trade-off that you guys are doing.
So as a small token of appreciation, we would now like to present you with a memento as a thank you for being part of today's session and for all the valuable guidance.
Thank you.
Just a few lines. We met. I met Ravi for the first time at Philips. Both times I had Ashok Jain with me. Those conversations were very tough, and the relationship endured, subsequently. And we have been working with Ravi. That is why you also see AlgoShack growing. His connections in the med devices world is really helping us grow. So the point is, fairness really means fairness. It doesn't mean sweetness. It doesn't mean niceties. It means, true help. And it comes in different ways, and I'm sure that is the reason why Ravi is able to work even at this age. The kind of network that he has, the way he is able to leverage that network to help the network. That's tremendous. Probably you retiring has helped the industry much better than
In fact, I
what it
remember
did prior.
Ashok,
Yeah.
Ashok Jain,
Yeah.
is the vice chairman of Sutherland.
Sutherland, yes.
Okay. So post my retirement, he called me up and he said, Ravi, why don't you join us? I said, no, I don't want to join you. I am happy where I am. Let's be friends. Yeah, and whatever help that you want from me, it's always there. Respect your age and I respect your stature and trust, count me in. So whenever he comes to Bangalore, we always ensure that we have a dinner the day he arrives and just before the day he leaves. And then he was asking me about his CEOs, saying, how are these guys doing, what is that fellow doing, what is this guy doing and all that. So I said, Ashok sir, the very fact that I am not in your organization, we are able to have this conversation,
Yeah.
okay, about your leadership.
Yeah.
If I were there, I would also be a part of your system and bureaucracy will demand that I don't open my mouth. Political savviness will ask me to keep shut, whereas today I don't care about it. I can be quite frank and open to you and tell you what's going on well and what is not going on well. So at some point in time you need to, again, these are the calls that you need to make. Maybe if I had joined as a head of Sutherland Medical or whatever, I would have made a lot more money. That's a different thing. But then, yeah, who cares at the end of the day?
Yeah. Thanks so
And
much.
also, like, even with the partners that I deal with in DeepL, they come and they put obnoxious rates. And I tell them, guys, you know me here, come on. All this is not going to fly. You know what the market values are, you know what. So put the damn thing there and let's sort of not have this back and forth stuff. And people do accept it because they know that you are being fair, you are being transparent, and you are being open. Why beat around the bush?
Yeah.
It takes a while to build that reputation, but once you build it, it sticks with you for life.
Yeah. People on either side, they listen.
Yeah.
And things happen.
The same thing even with AlgoShack, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You put a rate and we said, okay, yeah, this will fly, this will not fly.
Yeah.
And where it is possible, we say that, okay, let's do the adjustment there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for